And one of the things he's spoken about quite openly is more layoffs. So 10 months after he rejoined the Warcraft leadership team as creative advisor, Chris Metzen is back. He is back in a full role as the executive creative director of the.
So Chris Metzen is back. Chris Metzen is back in World of Warcraft. So I want to talk about it really quick. We're excited to share that Chris Metzen has taken on a full-time role as executive creative director of Warcraft Universe. Right now, his main focus is supporting our World of Warcraft leadership and crafting the next generation of adventures. Now, what's interesting is that Chris was instrumental in developing the foundations, but at BlizzCon, he and the team will be sharing what we've been working on. So I think this is really exciting, is that at BlizzCon, we're actually going to get to see Chris in a role where he's probably going to speak to the crowd, which I always really look forward to Chris talking at BlizzCon because I just think he's just a really cool guy, and I think it's always really interesting. And he obviously was really great for Blizzard. Anyways, I'll be right back. There's nobody in the stream right now, so I'm just gonna put on some music. I'm gonna grab some food real quick, and I'll be right back. We'll see if some people jump in the stream here in a minute when we come back. So anyways, yeah, take a look at this real quick. I'll be right back. 10 months after rejoining the Warcraft leadership team as creative advisor, Chris Metzen has decided he likes the World of Warcraft. He likes this World of Warcraft franchise and will be sticking around. I can't believe that he likes the current state of the game that much. I'm just curious, like, what the conversations were around bringing him back, even in the capacity as a advisor. And what does that really mean, advisor? Like, oh, we're going to bring you back as an advisor. Was it just like, I need to make some money? I mean, does he really need money? I don't think so. So bringing him back as an advisor, I'm not really sure. I'd love to get the skinny on what was in his mind when he decided to do that. What was his goal? The
Warcraft universe. And this is pretty exciting for Warcraft fans. This is basically exciting for Blizzard as a whole, because Chris Metzen more or less is the face of Blizzard, right? You'll have seen a lot more of like Mike Morhaime, J. Allen Brack in the recent years and stuff like that, especially from a leadership position, but from a creative position, this is the guy who made the stuff I know.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer the old WoW, like vanilla WoW and stuff is my favorite. It probably always will be, but this is pretty cool though. Let's watch this video and we can hear what I can't remember this guy's name, but Bellular's buddy here, alter ego.
Leadership position, but from a creative position, this is the guy who made the stuff I know. It's Chris Metzen. As much as people like Blizzard's games, I think what really drove people to them more were not just the stories, right? But the vibes, the atmosphere, the feelings. Warcraft is like a vibe that people know. People know Warcraft, they know World of Warcraft. StarCraft as well, with it's properly iconic, and Diablo with all of the hellishness to it. People love those, and it's pretty understood that being, senior vice president of story and franchise development for such a long time, Metzen was at the heart of it all, right? He is this 23-year veteran of Blizzard who was there from the very beginning. I think he joined, and the first game he worked on was a Justice League game for them, I believe. And he's basically also not just the face, he's also the voice of Blizzard. Iconic characters are him, Thrall. That's maybe the most iconic Warcraft character of all. I'd say that maybe Arthas or Illidan. He's the hero, right? You think of a heroic character, it's him shouting, it's him doing that growl. That's what he is, and that's exactly what Blizzard have been missing in a lot of their games recently. Even when Diablo 4 did a seemingly very good job of getting it, it still didn't really have the hanging around power that it needed. It didn't really inspire people to in this like brand new way that those games back in the past did. And now that Metzen's back leading Warcraft, there's maybe a little bit of that to come. So you think about Blizzard for the past maybe 7 or 8 years, and it seems to have all gone downhill since then. It seems to be Legion being World of Warcraft's final expansion, where like the core original creative team were part of it, and then Overwatch, like its release, obviously it's not all connected, but that's when Metzen left originally. And obviously we do have to talk about the whole workplace culture thing a little bit, because obviously that was a big thing that happened a couple of years ago in this.
Yeah, one thing that like when Overwatch came out, it was really really cool. Like if you watch the release trailer of when they did it at the BlizzCon, and they had the video for Overwatch, I mean, it was really cool. Like the story, like I really really liked the characters in Overwatch that when it first came out. Like in the stories they built around those characters was so good, and it made sense that what's his name wanted to make it into more of a wanted to create more of like a PVE mode and more of like almost like an MMO type mode to Overwatch, just because the characters were really intriguing. They were really cool characters. And of course, they didn't do it because Blizzard didn't want to pay for it, and that's why what's his name left. But it just was becoming too costly for them to do it. I can't remember the guy who left. I should remember his name. This is my old brain's kicking in here. But I mean, I think that was kind of the last thing that I've seen come out of Blizzard that was really creative, that I really liked. Like I really liked Overwatch. I thought it was really cool. The game failed because of the way that I think a lot of competitive games fail, and that's because they create a very toxic community that's really based around people that are like the best players. The people that are at the top of the scene, and I think you have to be really careful on how you manage the esports side of those types of games, and you have to be really careful how the game itself is managed, so that toxicity is try to keep it out of the game. It's very difficult to do because gamers are just assholes, to be honest. Anyways, so let's see what he has to say here.
Change Blizzard irreversibly, but one of the things that's interesting is how much work did Chris Metzen do on Blizzard? How much was he like the creative force? How much did he actually drive things behind the scenes? And one of the things he's spoken about quite openly is that his desire to leave was mostly because of burnout. And it seems
it was burnout.
More or less after he spent his time away, after he went on the Ouroboros source book for War Chief Gaming, his own company, which is apparently a tabletop retelling of a world and campaign from his teenage years, which is one of those like feels kind of full midlife crisis-y, right? It's like I'm gonna go back in my teenage years and write the source book, and it's going to be cool.
Oh yeah, that is an actual great statement. That feels so much like a midlife crisis. And a midlife crisis, not me being old. I'm an old guy, right? So I exactly know what a midlife crisis is. So I've been through midlife crisis when you get to a point where you're just like, man, I spent 30, 40 years of my life and I don't feel like I've done what I wanted to do, accomplished what I want to do, or maybe I have accomplished what I want to do. But usually you're just burned out. You're like, I've done the same thing for 20, 30 years, and you just like, I want to do something different. And usually when you want to do something different at a later stage of your life, you usually go back to something that you were excited about when you were younger. And for Metzen, so it's just a great comment for him to say that it sounded like a midlife crisis. That's fantastic.
Which is apparently a tabletop retelling of a world and campaign from his teenage years, which is one of those like feels kind of full midlife crisis-y, right? It's like I'm going to go back into my teenage years and write a source book, and it's going to be cool. And that was largely successful, and everyone like was happy to pay for it and stuff. But after that, they seem to have gotten quiet. But over in Blizzard since 2016, it seems that a lot of Chris Metzen's work was actually picked up by a man who's been referred in multiple places as his successor, Alex Afrasiabi.
Well, first off, let's say this. Alex Afrasiabi is a total douchebag. The guy's a slimeball. He's a disgusting pervert. And I don't know what this guy's going to say about him, but we all know that the guy's a total douche. He's a total loser. He's one of the worst people at the company that was behind the whole Cosby suite and all the shenanigans that was going on at BlizzCon. And I'm glad he's gone. That one thing about Chris Metzen I can say is if you knew about how bad of a douchebag Alex Afrasiabi was, it's shame on you for not maybe bringing it up sooner.
2021 revelations, he was named as a specific individual who had harmed people after he had left the company a year prior. And it seems like through a lot of scuttlebutt we're hearing back and forward across Blizzard, across, different things, it seems like Afrasiabi may not have been a very effective successor to Metzen. It seems that maybe there were some wrong lessons learned. Maybe some of it was attitudes, maybe some of it was other things, but it seemed like that period of time between the actual company itself was in a pretty, almost a, not a dearth of creativity, in terms of developers, but a dearth of creativity from vision. It seemed like the only people they had at the top were leaders who were interested in leading from a production perspective or from a more, a corporate perspective, instead of here's the thing that we want you to do, here's the vision, here's the art we're going to make, everyone go for it. It seems they were a little bit more comfortable to go, what are we making? Products, I guess. We'll let the devs figure it out, whatever. Sometimes that can be better in certain cases. But for Blizzard, the thing that always defined them was this like really strong creative vision that like bled through everything they did. That seemed to suffer in that like downtime. And I don't believe they had a creative director for Warcraft specifically, actually, someone in that literal position since Afrasabi's development. So then you think about Afrasabi being gone and why, and you go, well, hang on, was Metzen involved in any of that? And right now, he was not directly named in any of the allegations.
That's a good question.
His personal apology was more or less, he had the privilege of not noticing, not engaging, not creating necessary space. So,
Yeah, that was always kind of a question, like, because we know that Alex Afrasabi was a total douchebag. People wondered, well, what, how did you work there and not know that this guy was such a loser, and doing the things that he did that were completely wrong? For Metzen's part at the time, he was not directly named in any of the allegations, but it says, yeah, the privilege of not noticing, not engaging, not creating necessary space for the colleagues. I'm not really sure what that means. Who needed us as leaders? I have no idea what that means, that this sentence means.
Effectively, he kind of downplayed any connection he had with Afrasabi, and then basically went, he wasn't incriminated in anything. No one said he's ever done anything wrong, just that he didn't do quite the effective job as he should have as a leader in that case. So then in 2023, he came back as creative advisor for the Warcraft franchise, including World of Warcraft at first, and then moved.
And what does creative advisor really mean? I would love to know what that really, what does a creative advisor really do?
Moving on to other things.
Sounds to me like he's just there getting a paycheck, you know what I mean?
So obviously, people are thinking, the other things, what's that about? Interesting. Are you going to do some movies? You're going to do some TV, things like that? And I believe on Twitter, Chris and Mike Ibarra, the president of Blizzard, basically talked about that pretty handily and said, maybe, there's maybe some plans, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We're not going to tell you how far along they are. And then Metzen was like, hey, a movie would be cool too, which, you look at that being the time of, post Arcane's astounding success, post the original success of the early Witcher, looking at Castlevania as another example. There's clearly like a market for Blizzard stuff there if they actually do it with creative direction, which they now have in terms of, well, a creative director. As for Warcraft at the time, that was off the end of the Shadowlands expansion, which was
the worst.
A wake-up call for...
Yeah, the Shadowlands, in my opinion, is not even... It's not only is it the worst expansion, but it's not even close. Shadowlands was so bad, like, to me anyway, and I to be honest, I didn't go through all of it. I found Shadowlands, the leveling experience content and the content of the game, even the zones, to be so bad that I never reached a character to max level in Shadowlands doing the quests. I never did. I couldn't get through them. I hated them. I hated the story. I hated the quests. I hated the zones. There was like nothing in Shadowlands I liked. I actually leveled characters to max level in Shadowlands just doing Battlegrounds. I just like queued Battlegrounds over and over and over again. I did PvP straight to max level because I just couldn't stand the story. I thought it was so bad.
So many people, because that was not good. Not good in almost any feasible way. It wasn't good. So then that moved into Dragonflight, and Dragonflight has been substantially, improved.
Too cartoony. WoW's gone to too much of a cartoony look. I mean, it was cartoony to begin with, but if you look at the art style in the original, like vanilla game, and then you compare it to the art style now, it's just different. Like if we look at a video of, if I go to my channel and we just pull up like, we pull up AoE Protection Paladin, we're going to get some sort of videos of...
Alright, we're doing...
we're going to get like this vanilla looking, dungeon here that I'm doing, right? So I'm doing some sort of, fighting. And this is the art style, it is what it is. It's cartoony, but then you go to like, you go to Dragonflight. Okay, this is not Dragonflight. This guy's not even reached Dragonflight levels yet. Um, but here you got Dragonflight, and you can see it's the new interface. The UI, like these UI screens they created, I can't stand. I think they're terrible. They're so bland and ugly, and they look like they look like a mobile game to me. Really dislike them. I hate this mini map, by the way. Oh my God. Yeah. So it just again, it looks kind of it looks very cartoony. You know, there's a lot of bright. And they really changed the colors. Like if you look at this, then you go back and look at this, you can see this looks gritty. You know, this looks gritty to me. And like when you're like this paladin fighting these bashers and they're knocking you down, it feels dangerous. You know, it feels like when I'm in this cave and these guys are coming at me, there's a little bit of a sense of fear there. But then you go into Dragonfly and there's no sense of fear. There hasn't been any sense of fear in leveling in WoW in a really long time. And all the interfaces it looks like something that was made for like 10-year-old kids on a console, like, 10 years ago. It just looks garbage to me. I don't know. I think it looks crappy.
So far, in like technically and as a gameplay product and all those things, with like content cadence, with the openness to the developers, with like the core details of gameplay, including class balance and changes like that, it has been a resounding success. A couple of shortfalls here and there. Still, it's not perfect yet. But one of the most divisive parts has been...
He can say it's been a resounding success, but if you look at the retention numbers on Dragonflight, it's been awful.
The creative direction. Obviously, we're very close to it, having the Warcraft channel and covering that in depth, where recently we've been covering a lot of basically community concerns that it's toothless. The Warcraft franchise doesn't have...
This is a really good shot here.
Channel and covering that in depth, where recently we've been covering a lot of basically community concerns that it's toothless. The Warcraft...
Like this. I mean, just look at these armor. This armor on these characters is so bad. It's like awful. This armor is so ugly. All of it. Like this guy's armor on the left. I mean, none of it looks realistic. It's just so bad. Like I hate this big bulbous, like bulky gear. It just, I can't tell you how much I hate this style. This art style is just so bad. Compare that to something like, I mean, even if you were to look at like Final Fantasy, right? I mean, any other MMO almost. I mean, I could pull up an MMO, that's old, that's really old, that looks way better than current World of Warcraft does, all right?
Warcraft franchise doesn't have war in it anymore. People are very hungry for like not just gritty stories, not just stories that are, hey, this is dire for the sake of it, not just here's some murder and pain and suffering. People want the kind of nuanced stuff. People want cyberpunk as an example. The whole like the humanism and transhumanism idea of, are you a person? How is that your body? What happens if you replace different parts of your body, parts of your mind? That's a really interesting thing for people to like delve into and engage with.
What is he talking about?
And transhumanism idea of, are you a person? How is that your body? What happens if you
Are you a person? Is that your body? Are we going to some metaphysical craziness?
replace different parts of your body, parts of your mind? That's a really interesting thing for people to like delve into and engage with. And it's a far cry from what people are kind of calling World of Warcraft's current direction, which is in some cases people say Disneyfied or very cartoony.
Yep, there you go. See, he said it right there. So, see, he agrees. Very cartoony. It is extremely cartoony. It feels like we're going to like Saturday morning cartoons when you play current WoW, right? But what I was going to say is if we go to Rift, right? If I go to Rift, which came out in like 2011, I think. When did Rift come out? We'll see. No, 2008 maybe. Let's see. Rift launch. Rift release date. It's 2011. So Rift came out in 2011. But when I look at this here, this is way cooler art style. Like, look at this art style. It's gritty. It looks more realistic. Like this like metal plates on my legs are much more realistic. This wooden shield looks really cool. It's got, like you can see some cuts in the wood and the texture. Let's look at this chick. She's got some cool stomach muscles going on here. But I mean, this looks really like, it just looks more like what I would want an MMO to look like as compared to, you know, what we were just looking at a minute ago with this nonsense, you know? I don't know if I can find it real quick.
A lot of basically community concerns that it's toothless. The Warcraft.
Yeah, so I mean, this is the current state of WoW. This is WoW Dragonflight. Look at this armor. Look at how like ridiculous this looks. Then you go to Rift, a game that I mean, this game hasn't even had a major update in years. Years. This game came out in 2011, and it still, to me, looks way better than current retail World of Warcraft. You know, and it's just because it's more. It's you know, it's fantasy, man. I mean, look at this. You know, I go in here and look how long it takes me to kill this guy. You know, look at that death animation's awesome. But I mean, look, this to me is like really cool looking. Look at these rocks flying around. This rift right here. We got these crazy looking like demons and orcs and shit. You know, look at that rift. You know, I can get on my crazy weird mount. But I mean, this to me is a much cooler looking MMO, even though it's so old. Like this game is old, but still, like, you know. And this is the best talent system, in my opinion, of any MMO ever made. Like ever. Like you have 3 talent trees, and in each one of these, I can slot any of these souls. Now I don't have all the souls. I only have this many. There's a lot more souls than this in the game, but you have to unlock them. Some of them are behind paywalls. A lot of them I think can be unlocked. I don't really remember how it all works, but super really cool. This is a War Chanter Paladin Tempest, which is a very tanky character. The Tempest Soul, you know, gives you a Master of Lighting, so I have spells. This Tempest Soul gives me spells. The War Chanter gives me some gives me some buffs and stuff, and some magic, and of course the Paladin makes me very tanky, very defensive. But anyway, I just want to show you like a game like this that's really pretty old, hasn't had any major updates in a long time, and then you look at this nonsense, this Dragonflight nonsense, which is just to me straight up garbage. I hate the way Dragonflight looks.
Franchise doesn't have a war in it anymore. And Warcraft historically has been a little bit silly at times. That's a really interesting thing for people to like delve into and engage with, and it's a far cry from what people are kind of calling World of Warcraft's current direction, which is in some cases people say Disneyfied, very cartoony. And Warcraft historically has been a little bit silly at times.
Yeah, it's been too silly. Like Warcraft doesn't take itself seriously enough. You have some really good stories in WoW and stuff, and there's some really cool characters. And in some cases, they're really good. Some of the cinematics in WoW have been fantastic. I love the Demon Hunt. Some of the Demon Hunter cinematics were just amazing. And even, but when you look at like this, it looks so bad.
Of an orc screaming. It was always about sacrifice. It was always about, you know, you think back to like the original story of Warcraft 3, and you think about Grom Hellscream, and he makes a heroic sacrifice to kill the demon that's been plaguing like his entire people. He dies in the effort and frees everyone else, even after this being basically his, you know, just earlier his second fall from grace. And it's all about these like strong heroic characters doing things that people can stand behind and rally behind and go, yeah, life sucks ass, but we can be that cool, so let's get after it. And I think that's what I think a lot of people were like super excited by. And that was Metzen, right? That was what Metzen wanted. It was to be fairly reductive. It's like heavy metal and beer. Obviously that goes a little bit too far sometimes into like trope territory, but that's the kind of thing that people miss in the industry, especially in like Blizzard, especially in like Overwatch 2. You see every cinematic is dramatic orchestral swell and we're all together now and we've beaten the bad guy, and there's very little like nuance in terms of
it's all happy. There's no like tragedies or anything like that. It's always like this everything's a happy ending.
Any, you know, not even just morality, but just there's nothing to be interested by or excited by. It's all like a false veneer of emotion. It's just like, hey, be happy now or something. So that was like the major problem with Dragonflight as far as creativity goes. But now Metzen has been working on World of Warcraft projects for 10 months already. He's now got this promotion to executive creative director. He's now basically like officially in the driver's seat, which implies to me that this is something they want to have known before they move into BlizzCon. They want BlizzCon to be very, very hyped up. They want that to be a massive moment.
Yeah, I think that's the fact that they announced this and even said that at BlizzCon they would release more information around Chris Metzen and what he's doing. That's obviously a big step by Blizzard to try to put that get that momentum going and get the excitement about around World of Warcraft going again. And I just don't. I mean, it's cool and all, and I'm super excited to see BlizzCon, but I don't think there's any way to save WoW the way I want WoW to be saved without, like I said, them doing a hard reset. I don't think you can just say, well, let's take the game from Dragonflight and let's keep going. I don't think that's going to work, at least not for me. You can't just say, let's just go continue the story from here. I just think the story has been destroyed and ruined and beat to death. And I certainly don't like the whole like space shit, like, oh, we're going off to space or different dimensions. I don't really like any of this stuff. I like grittiness, man. I like getting down in the dirt and getting dirty, man. Like when you talk about World of Warcraft, when you talk about the things that I like the most, it's like LBRS, UBRS, Upper Blackrock Spire, Lower Blackrock Spire, Blackrock Depths, going down into a dungeon and just trying to slog your way through encounter after encounter and wave after wave of enemies and hoping you can survive. And that's what I like. I'm a dungeon kind of guy, going down into big, scary, dark dungeons that are huge and massive and full of terrifying enemies. That's what I want to see. I these like dungeons that they started to make in later versions of WoW, where it's like, oh, you just run in and you're in and out in 20 minutes. Yeah, nah, that's not for me. That's not what I want. I don't like raiding because I can't deal with trying to get together with 40 people or even just 20 people, because there's always a bunch of douchebags that I don't really want to deal with, and there's always people that are just kind of assholes, and I don't have patience for that.
For Metzen's back, Warcraft's back. You get all of that energy. You get Metzen on stage and he goes, "For the Horde!" and everyone goes completely mental. That's the kind of stuff people want to hear. That's the energy Warcraft had. That's the energy Blizzard had. And correlation and cause aside, you kind of go, well, Blizzard under Metzen, cool stuff. Blizzard not under Metzen, not cool stuff. And that's reductive. It's also kind of true. It's also like an observed effect. So whether you see this as a big exciting moment for the Blizzard we knew coming back in the creative direction, obviously they have a lot of other things to contend with. There's a whole load of problems across the organization and a lot of things they've been doing better. Metzen being back isn't going to suddenly mean that Diablo 4 seasonal content is suddenly more exciting. And that's one of the things people have been talking about with issues recently. If you want to see it as at least an attempt, we know the vibes are off. How do we get the vibes back? Let's get the man who built them in the first place. Let's pull him back onto the project and get something going. Then at least there's hope. But obviously at the top of this video, I did say it was very Blizzard of them. It was Blizzard. Blizzard do it again. Blizzard have done what they always done. Every single time. They use this to bury some bad news. Now, it's not as colossal as usual where they would go, okay, well, here's 800.
Okay, so I was going to say that they're laying some people off, right? (2011). I wonder how far back they go.
Back here again. Yes and yes.
9 years
Goodness
ago.
gracious, guys, it is awesome.
Yeah, hey, what's up, Lost? Yeah, all my guys are still alive. They're not gonna die. Come on, Lost. None of my characters are gonna die. Yeah, my melee hunter's level 41, actually, level 41. And I'm probably gonna play the protection paladin here in a minute. I'm just
Back here again with you this year. And I'm gonna apologize up front as usual. I'm totally peaked. It is gonna be okay,
2005. I'm just looking for some old videos of Metzen from back in the day. There's this here. Let's do this one.
This one is for you, Chris. Did you play any role in?
Oh man, my hunter's broker than broke, man. You think that when you think if you start using the auction house, you'd actually make money, but not me, man. As soon as I have access to auction, I start spending money. I'm like, oh, let me get these nice leggings. Let me get this nice weapon. Like my level 41 melee hunter has about 25 gold. All right, that's it.
Like World of Warcraft and StarCraft and maybe Diablo.
Did I play a role in
Like voice
as an
acting.
actor? As an actor?
Yeah.
Well, I hesitate to use the term as an actor, but what did I do? In StarCraft, I'm the Terran battle cruiser, battle cruiser operational. I'm the,
Battle cruiser operational. Battle cruiser operational.
how about how do I get out of this chicken shit outfit? I'm the Terran Marine. The original Ghost, Ghost reporting. I'm the original Ghost. World of Warcraft, I am Thrall. Actually, I did Logosh as well, which is not very good, but forgive me. I am Thrall. So all that. I don't know, guys. All sorts of stuff, like Ragnaros, I think, any number of bosses, but I hesitate to use the word actor, but I have had the privilege of serving with distinction in that geeky capacity.
It's a shame he has no skills, huh? Slug.
What was the other? Ooh, Ashen Vale. It's amazing how much cool stuff there is on YouTube, isn't there? Anyways, yeah, you do. You would think that you would, right? You would think that not buying skills that I would have all this money, right? But I don't. Although I will say that I gave 10 gold to my protection paladin, right? So I bought this chest piece for about 1.5 gold, and it was a nice chest piece because remember when I hit level 40, I can use mail armor. So and it's really pretty impressive. Like if you look at the difference between like some of the items I have on my character, like level 35 or something leather, and then you look at like a level 35, mail armor. Unfortunately, I'm nowhere near the. I'm nowhere near. Here, let's go ahead and head back to Stormwind because I don't think I'm gonna play the hunter tonight again. I played the hunter tonight already, and she's about a bar into level 41 here. I was just farming these guys for water because I'm so broke. See, I was farming them for the enchanted water because I'm so broke I didn't want to actually buy the enchanted water. But just to show you guys the difference, when you think about a melee hunter, one of the things you want to do on a melee hunter, one of the things you'd like to do is you would like to be able to actually stand in front of a mob and just say, "Hey, hit me," you know what I mean? So you can proc your mongoose bite. So to do that, you obviously want to have a lot of good defense, and of course, as a melee hunter, you're going to be using monkey all the time. I do have 2 points in improved aspect of the monkey, which gives me 2% more dodge. And so when I am in aspect of the monkey, you can see that my dodge rating right now is 21.13%. Why is my crit so... Oh, it's because I haven't leveled my weapon up all the way. So if I put on my polearm, you can see that my crit rating is 4.51. And this does not have any... yeah, so that's what my crit will be once we level the axe up. It should be around 4.51. But you can see I actually purchased this axe earlier, and one of the things on a Meat Hunter 2 that's really really good is weapons of power, right? You may think that like having like a lot of agility or for a melee hunter is really good, and it can be good, right? It can be, but much better than that, I think. I'm like 90% sure this is going to be better in most cases. Is to really go for a weapon that has just straight up attack power. Because you can build up your crit rating with your other gear. Get agility on your other gear so that you have like a really good crit rating. But you can see right now my crit is 4.51. You got to keep in mind that due to my talent, Savage Strikes, I have a 20% chance to crit with Rapid Strike and Mongoose Bite. So that puts me at 24.51% chance to crit. So when I get more gear later down the road, that maybe gives me some crit rating or gives me more agility, and that crit's just going to keep going up. So we're going to have a pretty high, we'll have a pretty high crit rating. I really like getting the weapons like this axe here, man. And if you look at my damage meter here, you can see that I was doing a DPS of 105, Well, that was with my axe. Actually, before I put this axe on, I was down around like 80. So just this axe, and really these weapons do the same DPS per second, but the difference between these two weapons is, one, this is a little bit faster. So the top end damage is 133, the top end damage of this is 137. And I haven't even skilled up my axe skill all the way to as high as it should be. So if you look at my polearm skill, it's at 200. If you look at my two-hand axes, it's only 183. So it's 17 skill points less than my polearm, and yet my DPS was already at 105 versus when I was using the polearm, it was down around like 80, you know? And that's because this weapon, this gigantic war axe is axe of power, has plus 38 attack power. Now, to have 38 attack power on a melee hunter, you would have to have 38 agility or 38 strength, right? Or 19 of each, which is a lot of stats to have on a single weapon. So, really attack power on a weapon, on a two-hand weapon for a melee hunter, it works out, in my opinion, really, really well. So definitely keep in mind if you want to play the melee hunter and you're getting into higher levels, see, when you're looking for items, and you go into the arsenal, so you're looking for a weapon. Maybe sometimes just do a search and say, oh, weapons, and just do a search like this. Just do power. Just type in power. And like I'm level, what am I? I'm level 41. You could just do like, 39 to 44 or something, and go ahead and take a look. These are all the weapons that are just of power, right? And out of all these, which ones of these might work out for me? Well, the Tuskar Sword of Power is going to be decent with plus 42 attack power. It's actually, this is really good because it's 3.7 attack speed, and that's really good. So the top end damage 169. So this is going to have huge crits. And then the Gritting Axe is no good because it's 2.8 attack speed is too fast. So, and then if we move this all the way up to 60, and we get a few others like this one here. This one's really nice, 3.8. So this weapon here at level 51. I mean, this one plus 48 attack power, plus the top end damage 198. This is going to be like, this will crit for probably, I'm not even joking. This axe here, the Colossal Great Axe, at level 51 is probably going to be critting for like 500 to 600 damage. I've already crit over 400 damage on the weapon I have right now. So this one here is going to be critting for like, 500, 600 damage, easily. So, yeah, so that's pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. And yeah, so I wanted to show you is like, the other thing I want to show you, the reason I came back to Stormwind is if you look at, for example, armor, and you take a look at male armor, and you look at male leggings, right? And you look at, when you hit level 40 on a hunter, then you learn how to use male armor. So if you take a look, for example, like these leggings here, my current leggings are level 32 leather leggings. Well, they're only 92 armor, 10 agility, 10 intellect. These leggings here are 222 armor. I mean, look at that. That's like more than double the armor. 12 agility, 13. So this is actually a really good item. I mean, so for 3 gold, and of course 3 gold's a lot of gold for me because I'm broke. But man, 222 armor. I'm gonna gain 2 agility. I'm gonna gain 3 intellect, and I'm gonna gain like, 100 and what is it, like 130 armor. So, and when you switch from leather to mail, you're getting a lot of armor. And that's obviously really good for a melee hunter because then you can start tanking up and turn your pet's growl off, turn your pet's cower on, have mobs hit you. That way, especially if you've got a really slow weapon like a 3.6 or slower, if you can get like a 3.7, hell, if you get yourself the colossal thing here, what is it? If you get this thing, the Pendulum of Doom, with a 4, look at that, a 4.0 attack speed, plus that chance to hit to level 250 to 350 damage. I would crit with this weapon up. I mean, if this crit and it delivered the fatal wound, I bet you I could hit for almost 1,000 damage with one swing with this weapon as a melee hunter. Of course, I don't have 500 gold, but I mean, I bet at level 39, I could be hitting crits of almost 1,000 with this weapon if it procced the fatal wound. That would be insane. You go to mobs, just biff, 1,000. You'd almost one-shot mobs with this weapon. I mean, seriously. Because most mobs, like I have 2,000, almost 2,000 health. So, or wait, no, I don't even have that. I have 1362 health. So I'm betting most mobs I go up against probably have around 1,500 health, and that's at like level 41. So yeah, I mean, you're going to be taking off a ton of damage. That's But yeah, again, the armor and stuff is really cool. So the melee hunter is really cool in that respect because you have the option of letting your pet tank, but you also have the option of just tanking mobs yourself. And of course, if you're going to do that, you're going to want all the armor. Now I've only got a couple male items right now. I've got shoulders that I bought, these steadfast shoulders of the Falcon, and then I bought the chest piece, which is this one, and I think also the gloves, which is the matching gloves. So I've got 3 male items. So you can see my armor isn't really great. It's pretty bad. So you look at my armor, it's 1226. That's only damage reduction against level 1 targets of 24%, which is really bad. So if you're thinking about damage reduction, if you're like a character who's standing right in front of somebody hitting them, you want to be at least, I think, 40%. 40% damage reduction is good. If you can get up to like 55%, then you're really good, like really good. That's like really good damage reduction. But you're basically, 24 is really bad. But of course, like I said, once we get all male items, this is going to be much higher. It's probably going to be up around 35% or something. And so you would actually be as tanky as like a paladin almost. You go up and start beating on mobs, and you'd be like as if you're a paladin or something. You're not going to have the same amount of armor because paladin's going to have a shield. That's the big difference. But you can also do stuff like, which would be cool. And one thing I'd love to get, I just don't have the gold. But if you could get the warden staff, the problem with the warden staff is there was one in here. I don't know if it's still here. Yeah, it doesn't. Oh, someone on staffs. There was one here. Yeah, I don't see it anymore. Kind of sucks. There was one here. But it's like plus 10 defense on the warden staff, and it's got like plus 200 armor. I mean, it's a really, it's really, really nice. So here's the glowing bright with staff. Shit, look at the damage on that. Look at the damage on that. 51 damage? Holy shit. Wow, so even this staff would be, I'm not gonna lie, even the glowing brightwood staff would be good for a melee hunter because it's got tons of intellect. So, and you burn through intellect pretty fast, believe it or not. But the damage it's doing is really good. I mean, 191. That's pretty impressive. Let's take a look at two-hand swords. True Silver Champion is pretty decent. I mean, it does good damage, but that shield chance on hit to protect the caster with a holy shield, that actually procs fairly common. Maybe once every couple fights. So that's actually not bad. It's not a bad it's not a bad proc effect. So the Demon Slayer is too slow. Yeah, 3.1. Warmonger 3. Yeah, so Deathblow 2.8. Unfortunately, we can't use maces, which kind of sucks because a lot of the really slow weapons in the game can be maces. Maces can be really slow, but we're looking at pole arms. There's the Frenzied Striker, which is intriguing, but it's too fast. It's 2.8, so it's too fast, really. But it increases your chance to parry by 1, increase your chance to hit by 2%, so it's intriguing. It's definitely a pretty good weapon for a melee hunter. I like the chance to parry quite a lot. But yeah, that's what I was just saying. Warden staff. Yeah, warden staff would be really nice. But there's you have a lot of options. And then of course we could always go down and do the one hand weapons if we want. But you'd have to like get something like the crawl blade, which something with a really slow main hand speed. Like crawl blade would be pretty good. I mean 40. That's actually. I mean you'd be hitting good crits with the crawl blade. 149 top end damage is really good. That sword from Sunken Temples, the blade, the dragon sword. What is that? Sunken Temple. That's a really good weapon. Dragon's Call. This one, now it's not it's not slow enough, but it does call forth an Emerald Dragon, which actually protects you. And it proc. I think it can proc more than once too. So this is actually, and you can actually dual wield this. This could actually be dual wielded too. So it's pretty interesting. It's not unique. So pretty cool weapon. Well, now I've been talking. I was gonna play my paladin, but now I've been talking about the melee hunter so much. I wanna level the melee hunter up, right? Here, let's take a look. Let's see if we can upgrade my armor. It would be nice to get some more mail gear just so that we can tank, because it would be fun to tank more often because we want to proc the mongoose bite more, because especially if we can get a slow weapon, because it's going to really increase our DPS by quite a bit. So let's see if we can get ourselves maybe some better armor here. Let's go mail armor and head. I don't think I have the helmet. Narv would be nice because I mean this would be really good because obviously the high armor on it, the high stamina and the high agility. So the helmet armor would be a great for a melee hunter. In fact, this might even be like almost like like pre-raid best in slot for melee hunter, because I mean that stamina agility is awesome. Obviously, the agility is going to increase our dodge, which is what we want. We definitely want to have a super high dodge. So that's a really good item. Here's the bone link of bear. I was thinking about snagging this one, the Black Forge Cow, because it's usually pretty cheap, but these prices are a little bit on the high side. Now this one here, look at this one, 55 silver for 10 spirit, 9 stamina. And the Brigadier Coif, 10 agility, 11. That's not bad. This one here, the 11 agility, 11 intellect. I like intellect because I don't have to drink as much and I can kind of chain pull more often. So it kind of keeps me going quicker. I kind of like intellect. You know, stamina's good, but agility intellect isn't bad for the melee hunter. And again, if we have the more agility we have, the better our dodge is going to be, and the better our crit's going to be. So that's not bad. That 1.25 gold for that's a pretty decent price. But still, that's a level, it's level 35. It'd be nice to get a higher level item. It's Tiger. Also, Tiger is going to be for pure DPS. That 12 agility, 12 strength. That's going to be really good for melee hunter too. You're not getting the intellect. You're not getting but you're getting like straight up like 24 more attack power. So if you really wanted to push your output damage, you'd just be going Tiger items really. But you got to have intellect. I mean, trust me, you're going to want some intellect. So how much is that one? That one's expensive though, 2.89. That's pretty expensive. But I mean that would give me 24 more attack power, which is, I'm telling you, man, it would make a difference. I mean, it would make a difference. My character would start, So if you went with that, and then you get the shoulder, I've already got a shoulder item, so we're not going to work with that. We don't have a waist item. Now here's another Tiger item. Look, see this one, 8 gold. Not gonna, obviously we can't afford that. The Black Forge girdle has agility stamina, so that's not bad, But the weapon I have, the current belt I have is agility, stamina, spirit, and it's actually, but it's which isn't bad actually. It's not bad, but again, we don't have the armor. We're losing all the armor because it's not mail. And then the leggings I have are really good. They're Falcon. They have agility, intellect, but now this is pretty good. But this is only level. Look at this. This is only level 32. But look at the stats: 8 strength, 8 agility. So that's 16 attack power right there, plus 6 stamina. So not bad. That's actually not bad. Here's the Tiger one with agility, strength. I really should probably push more Tiger items. I'm gonna lose intellect, but man, I'm gonna hit so much harder if we went with Tiger. Let's see what we got. Black Forge leggings. This is 1 gold whale. Falcon. Kind of cool looking. The bone link of monkey, but look at the cost of these. Like 12 gold, 6 gold. Actually, the Black Forge are pretty good. Because, I mean, 12 agility, 13 intellect. But it's just I'm only getting more armor though, and it's still 2.98 gold. Probably not worth it. I'm more tempted to get the Tiger item, but again, it's only level 34 and it's 4 gold, so not worth it. Not worth it. What are we missing? Music. Consgreaves, stamina, intellect. Here we got strength, agility. These are basically, it gives me 4 more strength. This will give me 4 more attack power, plus it gives me a lot more armor. Not bad for 1.5 gold. It's not bad. That's not bad for 1.5 gold, actually, but... Tempting. And it's almost 100 more armor, too. Oh, look at these, though. Look at these. Now, these would be good. Look at that. 30 attack power. 30 attack power. All right, we're going to stop looking because this stuff's all too expensive. Another thing we can look at, too, is don't forget about your neck piece. But neck pieces traditionally are very expensive. Yeah, all these are just really too expensive. Like this one, look, the Tiger one, look at that. It's 11 gold. Just ridiculously expensive. Like and even the eluding one, which I actually have one of eluding already. You know, here's one. Yeah, these are just way too expensive. Another thing would be good would be the Ring of Saviors. Now the Ring of Saviors would be nice because it, you know, you can increase your arm by 300. Plus it's got the 14 stamina. So the Ring of Saviors would be for a melee hunter would be pretty decent. That's not bad. Like I said, the eluding rings aren't too bad. Like this one here, the 5% dodge, because you know the dodge is nice, but Tiger would be better. Salt Band, yeah, obviously pretty good. Falcon's Hook is really good. For 3 gold, that's actually... Ooh. 9 agility, 3 strength. That's actually surprising that's only 3 gold. That's because there's so many of them. Ooh, that's tempting. That's tempting to... Of course, the Myrmidon Signet. Always a real... Look at that. This would be, again, best in slot probably for the melee hunter would be the Myrmidon Signet. Because of the strength, agility, stamina, that's just phenomenal. I mean, really, the stuff you're going for is almost like an arms warrior type gear, you know, or like maybe a fury warrior type gear. Yeah, but that Falcon's Hook for 3 gold, that's tempting. I could add 9 agility and 3 strength. I mean, that's 12 more attack power. I'd lose a bunch of intellect and spirit though. Woo. Tempting. And of course we want to get... I need to get Uther Strength for my Paladin. But anyways, I'm going to take a break. Because this stream was just me talking about WoW and not actually playing WoW that much, so... I will come back stream here in a bit, maybe like, I don't know, 20 minutes, and I'm probably gonna... I wasn't gonna play the melee hunter, but after looking at all that gear, it makes me want to level up some more. So we can start getting some better gear. I need to figure out what's the best way to make money, because I need money, like, big time. And I know some ways to make money would be... I mean, I am an alchemist, so I could try to make stuff that... You know, I could try to make potions and stuff, but most of the potions really don't sell for that much. Sadly. You know, believe it or not, just the regular healing potions were selling for, not a lot, but they were selling for a little bit, just like, you know, greater healing potions, which kind of surprised me, but, and they're pretty easy to make, so, but again, I think I'm going to go by the mantra that I like to go by, which is what I like to say, with level comes money. The higher level you are, the more things are, you know, the more things drop that are actually worth money, whether they're gray or green or whatever, so... That's my with level comes money mantra. So, I'll catch you guys next time. I'll probably, like I said,